Hey homegirls, welcome back to my channel. If you are new here, my name is Kaylin J, but I go by Kay. Welcome. Come in, grab a seat, and let's talk a little bit. So this video is so overdue. Like, I was supposed to record this video weeks ago, and I'm not even gonna go too much into why it didn't get done, because regardless, it's an excuse. Why it didn't get done is an excuse. But last time y'all saw me, I was 29 years old, and your girl has been 30 for a month now officially. Listen, 30 is 30, okay? My left hip is so messed up, and I just be in so much pain. I'm like, I can't believe literally I turned 30 and a week later my hip was messed up. It's not helping me not feel old. You know what I'm saying? I had a good birthday. My boss took me out to lunch and we had a really good talk, and you know, I was telling him kind of like where I was mentally and emotionally, and he was really just trying to give me some advice and pour into me. And one of the things that we talked about was me not knowing like what I'm doing right really with my life. Like, what is my purpose? I feel like everyone has like found their thing and locked into it, and they're building it and growing it, and I still don't really know what that is for me, right? Is it my 9 to 5 that I have now, just building that and growing in that position? Is it going back to the corporate world and building a corporate career? Is it going back to school and going into the medical field? Is it YouTube? Like, I just don't know what my thing is right now, and so I just haven't really been like pouring into anything because I feel like I don't know what I'm supposed to be pouring into. And one of the things he told me was to just like lock into something. Like, locking into something is better than locking into nothing. And you know, hopefully by me locking into something and working hard at that and building that, even if that's not the thing I'm supposed to do with the rest of my life, even if that's not the purpose and calling of my life, it may spark something that will lead me to what I am supposed to be doing and what my purpose is. But if I do absolutely nothing, then I never have that opportunity to spark something else or spark another idea. So that's where I'm at with it right now. I am just taking that advice as best as I can, and I have made the decision that I am just going to lock into YouTube and let it be whatever it ends up being, and let it take me wherever it ends up taking me, right? So for me, the goal for this YouTube channel is really to target young women who are in their 20s, in their teenage years, because I just feel like we all have gone through things that are so similar and so relatable. And for me, just reaching back to the girls that are younger than me and just being a voice and possibly someone they can turn to for like guidance or advice, even in just the smallest ways, in any way that I can help. If I just help one person on this channel, then I've done an amazing job in my eyes. So that's where I am with it. Just got back from Thanksgiving, got the opportunity to see my family, to see my niece, my nephews, and to see my mom. And seeing my mom is always just like the restart button and the refresher that I need to just come back and just be a little bit more emotionally stable, so that I can pour into myself and pour into the things that I need to. My mom is such a soft spot for me, but in a good way. Not making this video too long, we're gonna go ahead and jump right into it. The 20 things I learned in my 20s part 2. Let's just jump right into it, starting off with finances. Number 11 is create good money habits starting in your 20s. So let your 20s be the time where you start to create and develop good money habits now. That's living within your means, budgeting, saving, investing. Developing those habits now will put you in a better financial situation later, and will make managing money a lot easier, especially as you start to make more and more money. Like any habits, once you've created habits, they're pretty hard to break. So you don't want to put yourself in a position where you're in your 30s and 40s and you're mismanaging money, you're blowing budget, you're spending more, you're living above your means, and ultimately, no matter how much money you make, you still end up broke just because you have poor money habits, poor money management from the things you've done starting way back in your 20s that you just never got the reins on. Start making good habits now because it's always going to benefit you in the long run. Number 12, educate yourself on finances and financial literacy. In order to practice good money habits, you need to actually know what the good habits are. What are the right things to do with your money? There are so many online videos, courses, classes, and other resources that teach you down from the basics like budgeting, saving, how to track what's coming in and what's going out, all the way up to more advanced topics like investing, stocks, bonds, crypto, real estate investing, even credit, what credit is, how to use credit, how to build credit. Even if you don't want to pay to learn from someone who's coined an expert in the financial space, there's free resources and even very low price resources such as books. One of the very basic books that I would recommend is The Richest Man in Babylon. It goes from the basics of how to keep track of what's coming in, what's going out, the basic principles of saving, investing, and growing your money. You can even join communities like those owned by Tiffany Aliche, who's known as the Budgetnista. She has her community where she teaches all about budgeting, tracking income, tracking expenses, and living within your means. Number 13, invest in experiences over material things. So this is really like my little personal advice that I wanted to throw in there, right? I can't tell you how many times I've spent money on material and tangible items that months later I forgot I bought, or they're somewhere collecting dust. I don't even use it. But the one thing that I have never forgotten is the experiences that I spend my money on, right? Whether it's traveling with my friends or family, trying new adventures, those are the things that have become core memories in my mind. They're etched in there. I will never forget them. But I forgot that I bought that new bag because I haven't found an outfit to actually carry it with. Whether it was my trip to Mexico with my coworkers or my family reunion in Augusta, Georgia, my girls' trips to Atlanta and California, my trip to Tennessee last November with my family, those are the things that I remember the most. Those are the experiences that I would love to recreate. I'm not really that pressed of the material things. And as you get older, your priorities will change and you don't want your life to pass you by and realize that you haven't really experienced the world, but you spend money on things that you probably don't even use months after buying them. Number 14, set financial goals and track them regularly. Even with your finances, it's important to have a destination on where you want to end up so you can create a plan around how to get there. Otherwise, you just go through life accepting whatever life throws at you, and your finances is just not the thing you want to do that with. Set goals for how much you want to make every year, how much you want to save every year, the way that you want to live, and how much that'll cost you. Even how much you need to save for retirement so that you can maintain the same lifestyle without having to work anymore. It's never too soon to start thinking about those things and thinking about the future now. And number 15, be a good steward over what God has given you so that he can bless you with more. Now y'all know I can't talk about a blessing like money without bringing God into the conversation, right? Because I wholeheartedly believe that everything we have is a gift from God, even the money, okay? So I encourage you to use the tips that you've gotten here and even other things you've learned from other resources and be a good steward over what God has blessed you with. You may not feel like it's much now, but still just do right with what God has already given you so that he'll continue to bless you with more when he sees that not only can you handle it, but you're doing it in a way that pleases him. Think about it, right? If a family member keeps asking you for money and every time you give them money, they just blow through the money, waste the money, don't do anything valuable with the money, are you gonna keep giving them money? No, you're gonna stop. So why wouldn't you think that God would just stop even playing with you? All right, so now we're gonna get into relationships and life balance. And when I say relationships, I'm not talking about just romantic relationships with your boyfriend or your significant other. I'm also talking about the platonic friendships, the relationships you have with your family, the relationships you have with your friends, and just how you balance that and balance life overall. So number 16 is be the friend that you would want. When it comes to friendships, I think it's really important that you be the friend that you would want in return, right? So let's take it back to elementary school, back to the basics, when your parents and your teachers taught you treat others how you would want to be treated. If you want your friends to be honest and considerate, trustworthy and loyal, stop and ask yourself, am I those things to them? Being what you want in a friend not only helps you attract the things that you're looking for, but it helps you navigate the friendships that you already have as well. Take inventory of your current friendships and ask yourself, am I getting back the same energy that I'm giving out? If not, you may want to start reconsidering the company that you keep. And ask yourself, am I returning the type of friendships that my friends are giving me? If the answer is no, then it's time to look in the mirror and do some self-work. And when it comes to romantic relationships, number 17, focus more on the partner you want to be than the partner you want to have. So in our 20s, we start to think about our ideal partner, right? What we want in a husband, the qualities we want, the way we want him to love us and to treat us, and we want him to be a good father and a good husband, right? All the things. But what I encourage you to do is take inventory of the things that you're looking for in your ideal spouse and ask yourself, am I the person that this type of man would want or would need? Use your 20s as a time to develop yourself into the type of wife that you want to be and the type of wife that your ideal husband not only wants but also needs. Focus on that more than you focus on finding the person, and the person will end up finding you. You will find each other. But if you're not what that person needs, you can find your ideal man. But if you're not the person that type of man needs, then it's not gonna work out. Number 18 is for every relationship that you have in your life. Set your boundaries and don't adjust them for anybody. Decide how you want the people around you to treat you, whether it's friends, romantic partners, families, co-workers. Establish what your boundaries are and make sure that every person in your life is aware of them, and be firm in making sure that no one oversteps them. You teach people how to treat you. You teach people what your worth is and what your value is. And if any person is going to be in your life, then they have to respect what you say your value, your worth, and your boundaries are. Setting boundaries from the very beginning is always a lot easier than allowing a person to just treat you however or to just do whatever and then trying to go back and establish boundaries later with someone who already has a habit of doing whatever they would like in your life. But even then, you still have the right to set boundaries whenever you feel like it, and they have to respect it. If you can't respect my boundaries, you can't be a part of my life, because no one gets to make me feel any type of way about myself. No one gets to make me feel disrespected, and no one gets to make me feel uncomfortable. Okay, this one I learned a little bit in my late 20s, but number 19, don't take advice from anyone you wouldn't switch places with. One thing I learned is to stop taking advice from people who have not done the thing. So a cool little way that I like to look at it is, what type of fruit does your tree bear, right? I always tell myself that I'm looking at people's trees and seeing what fruit they bear, right? So you can't give me advice on finances if you're broke and you're bad with finances, right? You can't give me advice on how to invest in real estate if you don't even own a property. And people like to say like, well, maybe sometimes a person may have the knowledge even though they've done it. No. There's no way that you have the knowledge on how to build finances, build wealth. You have the knowledge on how to invest in real estate, which also leads to building wealth. And you just chose not to. You prefer to live a mundane, broke life. Like, no one just chooses, no one sits on that type of knowledge and just chooses that for themselves. But my aunt, who just bought her third home, right, and all her adult children have grown up and they've all purchased homes, and she's walked them through the home buying process, that auntie can tell me about investing in real estate. That auntie can tell me about buying my first home. Her fruit are good and ripe and juicy. I'm gonna take advice from her, but I'm not gonna take advice from my uncle who's still living on his mama couch at the age of 40. I'm sorry, but I still love him and respect him the same. You get what I'm saying? So be mindful of the people you are taking advice from, and be mindful of the results that they have produced in their own life. Some people you shouldn't be taking advice from on certain things. So my very last thing that I learned in my 20s, number 20, don't stay in relationships longer than you need to. Now, this one recently came to me as I was reflecting with some of my best friends about our past relationships. And for some reason, I realized that we have a tendency to stay in relationships a lot longer than we should have. We stayed in a lot of relationships that we knew were essentially already over. And that doesn't mean like that they ended on a bad note, right? I think that we naturally think that relationships have to end in a tumultuous or a negative way, but I really encourage you to start developing your discernment and really trusting yourself, your gut, your intuition. And when you know that this just isn't it just isn't it anymore, it's okay to go ahead and make the best decision to walk away from a relationship that you know is over, and give you guys the opportunity to walk away from it on good terms than to just drag it out and wait for something so dramatic to happen that you end on bad terms and now you and this person can't even be cordial anymore. Society has conditioned us to essentially waste our 20s by being in the relationships that we know we shouldn't be in, by spending the money that we know we shouldn't spend, by focus on things that in the long run are not even going to be important anymore. And so my advice to you is to just take your 20s a little bit more serious, right? And that doesn't mean that you won't have fun. That doesn't mean that life won't be fun, but just be more mindful of the way that you spend your energy, the way that you spend your time, the way that you spend your money, the people that are connected to you, the friends that you make, the relationships that you make. Just be more intentional about the life that you are creating in your 20s, because the things that you do in your 20s are the things that are creating the life that you will have in your 30s. Don't be like me and wait until your late 20s to realize, dang, the life I'm living is only the result of all the decisions I made in my 20s. And now in my 30s, I have to pretty much go back and undo all those things. I have to go back and undo the habits I've created. I have to go back and undo the way of thinking that I've created within my mind. Be intentional about that in your 20s so that you can live the best life that you can, not only in your 20s, but in your 30s, in your 40s. And maybe you don't have to work so hard to create it. And that's really my only advice to you. That's really, to me, what your 20s are all about. I come to realize your 20s is just about being intentional and creating the life that you want to live, because the things that you do in your 20s literally create the life you're going to live in your 30s. So now why not set yourself up to live the best life that you can, starting now? You don't have to wait until you're 30 and 40 to start being more intentional about the life you make. Start now. Start now. I really hope that this video helps someone out there. I really hope that you can take at least one thing from this video that you can relate to, and one thing from this video that can help you. I would love to hear you guys' feedback in the comments, so leave a comment down below. Let me know what was your key takeaway from this video, and let me know in the comments what's some advice that you would give yourself in your 20s, right? If you could go back and talk to yourself in your 20s, what's the one thing that you would tell yourself that you think is ultimately going to really change your life and your way of thinking? And leave it in the comments so that someone who come across this video may read it and it may help them and it may inspire them. And that's what this channel is all about. It's about helping, inspiring, uplifting those who are coming after us, right? I really appreciate you guys watching. I feel like I got through this video really quick, and I think I felt a little bit nervous, so maybe I was talking fast. But nonetheless, the message is the message. So to all my little homegirls out there, listen, don't beat yourself up about the things that you're going through in your 20s, okay? It's all going to be a learning experience, but I do encourage you to do just that. Learn and make the changes, make the necessary changes, right? Don't go through something and then just keep repeating the same mistakes. Learn and make the necessary changes, right? With that being said, we're gonna go ahead and wrap this video up. Thank you guys for joining. I will see you with another video. Peace.